you were working at Third Space, right?
Yeah, I worked at Third Space. I worked for them for about almost 2 years. So basically, after working neuroscience, I went from working for NHS, and then I went to private healthcare,
Yeah.
and yeah, it was. You know what? I actually preferred my time at NHS, even though NHS was like being overworked.
Yeah.
It was just a nicer feel.
Tell me about that, because I mean, I don't know. I've not ever, like, Third Place is probably the only place I've never actually worked
Yeah,
at, and so I don't know what the practice is and the ethos and the general thing is
Third
there.
Space, Third Space, great. Like it's giving me everything that I have right now. So like I could never shit on Third Space. I mean, it's they do educations like every once in 2 weeks or so.
Okay.
Some people find it useful. Other people prefer to be elsewhere during those times. And there was times as well when I had like if I have clients and stuff and it's clashing, it gets a bit annoying because you're like, oh, I just want to just go see my client.
Fine, fine, for sure.
Because
Yeah, yeah.
do you know what I mean? Like, because you're not getting paid for education, but then education is also still important because then it keeps you obviously up to date with the most recent
I mean,
research.
I think as an industry, and I'm plucking this out of thin air, but
Yeah,
based on my observation, a huge, like, 8 out of 10 trainers are not really that engaged with the education part of it.
yeah,
They are mostly people who went to the gym, liked working out.
yep,
Working out kind of worked out for them,
yeah,
for, whether it's genetics or whatever.
yeah. I was gonna say
And
the
they were
same
like,
thing.
I like
Because
working out. This is great,
yeah,
and like, there's a way I can get paid for
yeah,
being in the gym and working
yeah,
others out and stuff like that. And so they're not that interested in the subject matter so
no,
much. They're kind of just like, I just like working out because
and they like being in the gym
they
environment.
like being in the gym
Yeah,
environment. So the 2 out of 10 that are like, oh, actually, I really want to know how this
worse.
works,
Yeah,
they always end up being the people that, from my observation, if this 8 out of 10 has a group of clients and this 2 out of 10 has a group of clients, the 2 out of 10 tend to have a lot less issues with producing outcomes for their
of
clients, a lot
course.
less frustrations,
And there's more retention as well.
more retention for
Yeah,
them. But it's kind of just, they, because they're interested in the subject matter, the second they come across a problem or an issue or a challenge, they are going a little bit more proactive in trying to, like, learn more and figure out, how do I solve this thing?
yeah.
Whereas the 8 out of 10 tend to come with the, the client's not listening, it's the client's
It's
fault.
got yeah.
It's, like, the people that do exactly what I tell them to do, so on, so on, so on.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, the client gets injured quite or whatever,
Yeah.
they don't necessarily think, oh, I should learn more.
Yeah.
They,
And I guess also it's understanding your scope of practice as well.
yeah, for sure.
So like for example, like if I ever find myself in a situation with a client where I'm like, okay, I've done obviously all I can in terms of helping this person out with whatever issue that's come across. If I wasn't able to kind of fix that, I'd be like, okay, what do I refer you to? Like, do you know what I mean? Because even though I have like rehab experience, like I don't know all. I work best with working with a physio because the physio to give me if the physio tells me, okay, yeah, we need to work on this. This is what we need to do, and he gives me a framework. I'm like, okay, fair, let's work with it. I use that framework, bring it into this session, and that's what I've done for the past 5 years when I worked in neuro. And it's more like I get the instructions from the physios, and I'm like, cool, I can work with this, and then I basically just use that and implement all of that stuff and
Has that
question as well.
often led to successful patient outcomes?
Oh yeah, big time.
Great,
Like
great,
I
great.
mean, like yeah, like my retention with my clients. Like, I've had all my clients because obviously I started working at Third Space 2001, 2021.
Yeah, okay.
Not 2001. I
Like,
was
before
like
Third
6 years
Space
old then.
existed, 2021.
2021. I started working at Third Space 2021, and like all my clients have pretty much wanted to stay with. Even when I left, they all wanted to come with me.
You've been able to, so you've been able to basically, like, when they have run into issues, working alongside the physio has basically produced, like, okay, we've gotten you back to full fitness.
Yeah,
Okay, great.
yeah, and it's almost like, and it's always like constantly looking at how to improve things for them as well. It's like I have one client now who's had a rotator cuff injury. Oh well, yeah, he's had a rotator cuff injury, and basically had that when he went away and he was training with another trainer. And I think something happened during his press. He's come back and he's gone, I'm bugging my shoulders, and it's like, okay, cool. How can we what can we do? So he's got his physio. Physio communicates with me, feeds back to me what I need to do, what we need to work on, what we need to focus on. And I'm like, bet, let's work on that. We work on that in between the sessions. So I put a sprinkle of that, especially before the session starts. I avoid anything that aggravates his shoulder in terms of like pressing. And then we just keep working along and working along. And now he's pretty much like, I'd say 95% okay. Sometimes he'd be like, oh, I'm not so sure about this. And I'm like, okay, cool. We'll just keep doing the stuff that we're doing in terms of the rehab. Give feedback into the physio. If physio actually spoke to him about 2 days ago and said to him like, "Oh, your shoulder's actually looking really good. Just keep doing what you're doing," and it's just like it kind of shows that like the hard work in terms of like the background stuff I do in terms of like making sure that okay, the instructions that's been given by the physios, I'm able to apply them and then put them across and use them in doing the sessions as well.
Yeah, I think it's a good example of the mental approach towards people that you're working with, and like going back to that, the 8 out of 10 individuals versus the 2 out of 10
Of course.
individuals. The 2 out of 10 individuals having that mental approach of like, I'm working with this person, I'm looking for the best possible ways to help this person improve and
Yeah.
collaborate and support with them.
Yeah.
And the 8 out of 10 simply looking at it as sessions that they get paid for. And it's just like, oh, like this person is going to turn up and I'm going to get paid. And then if they can't turn up, then, oh, whatever, right?
And I guess like that reminds me of a few things I've seen in terms of like people working in like gyms and stuff. Like I think when you work by yourself as whether the personal trainer, when you're freelance personal trainer, you work for yourself, you tend to like do more to make sure that your client you have to, because if you don't, your client will just go off to somewhere else. But I find that I see a lot of people who work in gyms, some of them don't care. Like they'll be like, okay, like I'm gonna just keep working because I'm getting paid for this, and especially because they're not getting paid much.
You know what? I'm in two minds whether to say what I'm about to say because
Yeah,
it is kind of controversial in a weird way.
it is
Uh,
because if you think about it, like I'm not saying all of them. I'm saying some people,
oh, sure.
I've seen some people literally just like treat them like cows in the farm. Do you
It
know what I mean?
is, yeah.
It's like, okay, bring him in or knock him out. All right, bring one in, knock him out, and just keep going and keep going, keep going. And it's like, okay, how many sessions do I get this month? And it's not about what what can I actually do for my clients to make
Yeah,
sure that they
it's
get the best result.
it's interesting because you mentioned about third space and the education that happens every
Yeah,
2 weeks, and so that like stuff like that would likely foster a culture of like, let's learn more about how we can help
exactly.
people.
Yeah,
And there are other places where there isn't that in place, and
no,
it's more, the conversation is more focused on how many sessions did you deliver, and if you deliver like a high amount of sessions, i.e. you've made more money for the company, pat
exactly.
on the back, well done,
Yep.
this is our shining star.
Yeah,
And then if you're not, then it's just purely based on the numbers that you deliver.
yeah,
As a trainer, you're going to be slightly less like focused on, or inadvertently being focused on helping people really well is going to help you a lot actually with your numbers, but
yeah. Because you'll retain so much
you
clients.
most likely will, and
Yeah,
you'll get more people because you're
people
doing
will
a good job.
refer you because
For
you do a
sure,
good job.
for sure. It's generally a good approach to
But
be as good as you can be at helping
but
people.
it also amazes me that some people just don't think that way.
No, and I think that is where I'm trying not to be too controversial, because I think the structures that you have in some of these commercial setups, they like inadvertently encourage people to not think about being a better trainer and a better support system.
It's more money,
They focus more on like, how do you basically make sales,
of
and
course.
there's such a high turnover with these trainers and their client
Yeah,
bases, and they don't quite understand why that's happening.
yeah, of course.
And so it's like, if some of these corporations would kind of understand that if you take some of the emphasis away from session delivery
Yeah,
and you put in devices like Third Space have
yeah, of
about session quality
course.
and service delivery and service
Yeah,
quality,
yeah,
that actually you're actually going to start to see your business, your overall business as a corporation, the PT revenue that you get increase.
yeah,
And at the same time, you're morally and ethically doing the right thing by the person who's investing money into your
of
service.
course.
And so they're getting good outcomes, safe outcomes with the right duty of care.
Hmm.
I personally would love to see more of that
More of that,
happening.
yeah, of course.
And I don't genuinely think even the PTs that are like, having their clients come in like cattle and just trying to run through sessions. I know a lot of these people,
Hmm.
and honestly, they're not, I've never met a personal trainer who didn't actually want to get a good outcome with a client.
Oh, they do, they
They
do.
do, they
But
do for sure.
but then also, I feel that if a company isn't paying them well enough, Like that's gonna also
Their
drive.
attitude can be a little bit like, "Why should I bother?"
Yeah, it's like, why should I do more? Why should I do the 110% effort? Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like,
it's and I that's exactly what you
yeah.
said. And the answer to that is you can do anything you want, right? For a living, especially if you're doing it for not much money.
Hmm.
So considering you've chosen to be a personal trainer and you've chosen to work with people to help them get from point A to point B,
Yeah, of
support
course.
them on longer term situations, that's why you should do the 110%.
Yeah,
Because you've chosen to do this means that you actually care about these outcomes and you care about helping people with this stuff. So that's what the 110% is about, even if you're only getting paid like just borderline above minimum wage for it
yeah.
for now.
Mhm.
And if you do a really good job, you're able to leverage yourself
Yeah,
into much more lucrative opportunities further down the
exactly.
line.
Because, like, I mean, for me, like, when I was at third base, I think it was like, if you're doing about 120 session, you're making about, I think, 35 to 40 an hour. And it's like, I didn't even think about it. I just thought, okay, my aim is to make sure that my clients have the best time possible with me while they're with me and make sure that they can go home and they feel like they've had a positive impact in their life and they feel like they're feeling stronger. I feel like, do you know what I mean? Like all the goals that they're after, like they feel like they're achieving them.